so Chief Barnes is going to come out and give an update. He has to go meet with the 19 officers that, were involved in the incident. So he's getting out of here, but the mayor's going to speak, and then the county executive, and then we'll be going down the list and taking questions. Chief Barrett with the county, or Sheriff Barrett will be here with the county, and we'll also have Barbara Weirs from the school. So just so everybody knows.
Will he be taking questions?
He will not be taking questions.
Can I ask why?
No, he doesn't want it. I don't know.
But everyone else is taking questions, including
Yes,
the sheriff?
correct.
Okay.
So when you say down the list, you mean down?
Yeah, I got a list right here, and go down like we did yesterday. So thank you.
Walking over now.
Reports. Yeah, careful there.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for being here today. We'll be providing an additional update as we have moved now into the investigation phase of this tragic incident. I'll be making some prepared remarks and will not be taking questions. My name is Chief Sean Barnes, Shonbarnes, and I'm the Chief of Police for the Madison Police Department. The past 24 hours have been a flurry of emotion, sadness, anger, disappointment, grief for the Madison community. We were brought together by a tragedy, and today 3 families woke up this morning to a world without a loved one. And that can never be outdone. In the midst of this tragedy, our community has come together in an incredible demonstration of support from Madison and indeed the state of Wisconsin and our nation. I cannot express enough gratitude to the many emergency response agencies who provided direct support to the Madison Police Department. We could not be standing here today without the men and women of law enforcement, specifically the Madison Fire Department, surrounding EMS agencies, Dane County Sheriff's Office, Monona PD, Oregon PD, the University of Wisconsin Police Department, the ATF, the FBI, Fitchburg Police Department, and Cottage Grove. A special thank you from me to all of these agencies. Thank you so much. These agencies and many others responded to the scene and or took calls for service within the city of Madison to allow us to focus on this tragic incident. Student reunification with their loved ones could not have happened as swiftly as it did without the assistance of SSM Health Dean Medical Clinic as well as the Quick Trip. Additionally, many people worked well into the night and supported local restaurants and community who came together and provided food and other logistical support for our team. Yesterday, we came together as one team, as one Madison, as one country, and we should feel incredibly proud about our response. I'll be providing some updates at this time, but before I do that, I'd like to provide an important clarification. Yesterday, after looking at the computer-aided dispatch system, it seems as if a call came from a second grader. It actually read, the call came from a second grade teacher. That was a mistake. That's my responsibility, and I apologize, and I clarify that today. It did not come from a second grader. It read second grade teacher. I will also be providing several investigative updates from the 8 p.m. briefing from last night. The Madison Police Department is committed to transparency and will continue to release information that can be used to improve public safety. This must be balanced against our commitment to the victims of this horrific crime and the need to do a thorough and complete investigation. As a result, I recognize many of you may have questions that I cannot answer at this time. I ask for you to keep the victims in your mind and respect their right to a thorough investigation. I also will not be taking questions at the conclusion of this press conference, but your pre-submitted questions serve as the basis for updates that we're providing for you this afternoon. If your question is not answered, it is due to an ongoing investigation. Okay. We know a document has been widely shared on social media. At this time, we cannot verify its authenticity. We have detectives working today to determine where this document originated and who actually shared it online. At this time, we cannot verify the document. We ask that you not share the document or spread any information that may be false. Our department will provide an update on this document when we can. There are always signs of a school shooting before it occurred. Some of you have reached out about Rupnow's social media activity prior to yesterday's shooting. We're looking into her online activity. We're asking anyone who knew her or who may have insights into her feelings leading up to yesterday to please contact the Madison Area Crime Stoppers. Again, anyone who may have known her or knew what she was feeling or going through at that time, please direct those inquiries to Madison Area Crime Stoppers. That number is 608-266-6014 or at P3 Tips. P3 Tips. We will not be releasing specifics about these social media accounts at this time. Identifying a motive is our top priority, but at this time it appears that the motive was a combination of factors. Again, we cannot share that information at this time because we do not want to jeopardize the investigation and those who are currently cooperating with us. All patient status remain unchanged. The 911 calls are the record of the 911 Communications Center and their standing operating procedure is not to release documents in open and active investigations. Again, we are working to authenticate the documents that you see online that some are referring to as a manifesto. And as soon as we do that, we will let you know. Now, the process for doing that is looking at original documents that may have been taken from the suspect's home, looking at information that may be on laptops or on computer to determine if this document originated from our suspect. Any disciplinary records would be under the purview of the school. Some of you have asked whether or not she was troubled or whether or not she was troubled at school. We do not have those records. We are not the proprietor of those. On the question of bullying, we're talking to students to understand whether bullying was one of those multiple factors that I mentioned earlier. Some have asked if people were specifically targeted. Everyone was targeted in this incident, and everyone was put in equal danger. Today, numerous MMSD schools were targeted by false threats, often known as swatting. We're working closely with the Madison Metropolitan School District to determine where these originated and to investigate this call. We do not believe that there are any current threats to any Madison area schools, and will continue to investigate these calls and any threats of violence as they come in. Let me be clear on this point. Making false threats is a crime, and we are working with the district attorneys to prosecute these crimes as information is gathered. And if we have to do that, we certainly will. I encourage all parents, all family members to talk to your loved ones about this. We will determine where they originated. We'll use federal partners if we have to and levy those charges as well. As we continue to investigate what happened yesterday, we're keeping the victims and their families in the front of our minds. We want to thank the countless people and organizations who've reached out to support them, as well as the Dane County Victim Witness Unit and the Dane County Emergency Management, who provided direct support to the families. To the Abundant Life Christian Academy, this is a hurting and haunting situation, and the many survivors will need our continued support, and we pledge to give them that in the days, months, and even years ahead. As a community, we must not allow violence or any act of violence to define us. We refuse to allow hate or destruction to win in this city. But rather, we will honor our survivors, our victims, through love, support, and the Madison way. Please continue to take care of yourself and take care of each other. At this time, we have several officers who are working today who was working yesterday. They were given the opportunity to stay home on what we commonly refer to as an administrative day. They were offered peer support, emergency assistance program through our city. But those officers chose to come to work today and serve their community. So at the end of my remarks, I'm going to find each and every one of them and personally shake their hand and thank them on behalf of a grateful city, and a grateful administration, and a grateful department and profession for their act of selfless public service. Thank you. Mayor.
Thank you, Chief. I want to start where the Chief ended, which is just asking everyone in this room and within the sound of my voice to take a minute. It's been an incredibly difficult 24 plus hours at this point in time. We're all human, including each and every one of you in the media who is covering this really tragic event. Please remember that you're human and take care of yourselves. We all need to do that. Drink water. Take a moment. Access whatever mental health resources you need. Because that's our job now, is to take care of ourselves so we can take care of each other and our community. Yesterday, the Madison community experienced a terrible and traumatic event. If there's any positive in it, it's that the educators at Abundant Life, our local law enforcement and first responders, and our community partners were prepared to respond. They acted without hesitation to protect our children, and I'm grateful and humbled by their actions. It's a day that I hoped never would come to our city, but like so many other communities, here we are. We will never be the same, but we will get through this together. I want to ask again that everyone, please, respect the privacy of the victims, their families, and those in the Abundant Life community. Right now, our full focus is on caring for those impacted. First and foremost, the victims and their families, the Abundant Life students and educators, our first responders, the students and educators across the city who woke up this morning and went into a school building not knowing if they would come home tonight. The incredible bravery of that act. I think all of our students and educators are feeling scared and vulnerable right now. We are also trying to care for our whole community because I believe we are all fearful and grieving and impacted. The City of Madison is working closely with Dane County, with community partners, with state and federal government resources to provide support and counseling to all those affected. I want to direct folks to a new city resource website that's available at cityofmadison.com/resources, which includes trauma-informed community resources, updates, community mental health resources, and information about vigils, other public events, and where folks can donate to support the Abundant Life families and our community. I want to highlight two things that are also on that website, and once again, that website is cityofmadison.com/resources. If you wish to support the families, the request is that come in the form of financial support through a site set up by the United Way of Dane County. You can visit unitedwaydanecounty.org, or you can text HELP for ALCS to 40403. Again, that's HELP numeral 4 ALCS to 40403. The community is also invited to a vigil tonight by the Vel Phillips statue at the Capitol at 6 p.m. Again, that's at the Capitol building by the Vel Phillips statue at 6 p.m. I would ask that everyone, and particularly the folks in this room, please avoid spreading misinformation, particularly via social media. Please vet what you share, even if your wish to share is well-intentioned. There's so much that we do not know at this point, and we have to allow law enforcement the time and space for a careful and methodological investigation. Let them do their jobs. And above all, please respect the victims, respect the families, respect the school community, particularly on social media. I want to say a huge thank you again to all of our partners and those across the country who have reached out offering support and well wishes. including President Biden, who I talked to yesterday, Senator Baldwin, who I talked to yesterday, Congressman Pocan, Governor Evers, who called, and many others at every level of government and all across our community. I want to thank most particularly our first responders and everyone who mobilized yesterday to help, and certainly Madison Police Department and the many law enforcement agencies that were mobilized, the Madison Fire Department, the Sheriff, the State Patrol, the FBI, the ATF. I want to thank our hospitals that cared for the victims and the medical staff there. I want to thank Dane County, in particular Emergency Management and the Victim Services Unit. They have been incredible. I want to thank SSM Health and the Dean Clinic. They, without hesitation, made their facility available to us. They canceled all appointments. They rearranged the facility. They put their staff at our disposal to make sure that the Abundant Life families could be reunited with their students. I couldn't be more grateful to them. I want to thank the United Way, both for setting up the donation site and for mobilizing resources across our community. I want to thank the Red Cross and the Salvation Army, the religious leaders who came to the reunification site yesterday from across our community, and all of the community organizations and businesses that donated food and resources to the families and are still now offering support for our community. There are so many people who have offered support, resources, help, and well wishes, and we are grateful to every single one of them. I want to end where I started, which is centering our collective humanity. We all have to take care of ourselves so that we can take care of each other and our community. Whatever your belief or tradition is, I would ask that you find a way today, tomorrow, in the coming weeks, months, and years, to be kind, to give grace, and to find ways, big or small, to help make our community a safer place for all of our children. Thank you, and I'll turn the podium to the county executive.
Before you go, can you introduce
We'll answer
yourself?
questions. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I forget that you're not all local. My name is Satya Rhodes Conway. I'm the mayor of Madison. That's S-A-T-Y-A, last name R-H-O-D-E-S hyphen C-O-N-W-A-Y. Satya Rhodes Conway, mayor of Madison, Wisconsin. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm County Executive Melissa Agard, M-E-L-I-S-S-A, A-G-A-R-D. It's unfortunate that we are still having to navigate this absolutely horrific situation in our community. I come before you today as a community leader, as a mom, as a fellow Dane County resident, and like many of you, someone who is continuing to process what unfolded yesterday at Abundant Life Christian School and across our community. My heart aches for the students and families and teachers and the first responders at all levels, from the 911 officers to the folks that are at our coroner's office. Every single one of us has been impacted in an unimaginable reality by this situation. Our kids, my kids, teachers across our community, and in fact across our nation, had to wake up and go to school today, and that was an act of bravery. Parents dropping their children off at after what we witnessed yesterday took an act of bravery and a belief in our community. And that's a bravery we should not have to put on the shoulders of our children and our families and our community. Let me be clear. These everyday actions that we have all experienced over the last 24 plus hours should not require bravery. They should be routine and joyful. especially at the end of a year, wrapping up a semester. Our kids should be laughing and learning and thinking about pajama day as they're heading into the holiday season. But right now, that's not the case. And right now, it's okay to not feel okay. It's how we move forward. And for some, the weight of this tragedy is overwhelming. I'm sure they're feeling sad and anxious and numb. We've heard that even from our police chief. And for others, they might just be feeling a little bit off, unsettled by the images that our news coverage is delivering to them in the fast-breaking social media world. And it's playing on repeat. And I am grateful for what it is that you all do. But this is impacting people in a different way. And I want you all to know, and people across our community, that their feelings are valid and they are not alone. Seeking support, talking to someone you trust, simply admitting that you're not okay is not a sign of weakness. It's actually a sign of strength. And whether you're feeling hopeless or scared or just not quite yourself, know that there are resources here in Dane County and in our community that will be here and continue to be here to support you in order to help people move forward through the healing process. Believe me, we are in this together. That is the Dane County way. That's what we do best. Through painful conversations and tears and hugs and vigils, we're going to heal. We're not going to be the same, but we're going to heal. Part of that process is setting aside complacency and demanding change. As someone who served 12 years in our legislature and had a front row seat to the inaction of addressing gun violence in our communities, I'm not stepping aside from that mission in my life. There's going to be public debate about the motives and other aspects of this mass shooting. But let us remember this fact. Gun violence is the #1 killer of children in this country. That's a legacy we cannot accept. We cannot accept that. Part of the reason I feel so pained by this tragedy is that mass shootings feel like something that's ominous and hovering, and we're all wondering where and when the next one is going to occur. And guess what? It happened here. It happened right here. And I am so proud of the folks that I work with at the county and that the mayor works with in the city and our partners at the federal, state, and local level and how it is that we've stepped up and responded to support people. Could we do better? Could we do different? I am sure. But did we do well? I am proud of the work that has been done in this community over the last 24 hours. And I assure you all today that we are going to continue to work like hell to stop future tragedies and to support our community that has been harmed by these actions. And for anyone that's out there listening, anywhere in this amazing world that we live, whether you're grieving or you're scared or you're angry or you're unsure or you're curious, take care of yourself, take care of the people who you love and whose lives you touch. Talk to someone, anyone. If you're not comfortable calling a number, there is someone in your life you can reach out to. No one is alone through this. We are strong in Dane County, and together we're going to get through this. And I know that there are questions that we all want answers to. And I am hopeful that we will have those answers sooner than longer. But please give us the time to do this right so that we can learn how to prevent this from happening in the future and support those that have been most impacted in our community. We are doing everything in our power at all levels in a collaborative way to prevent this type of pain from ever happening again in our community. Can I assure that? No, but we are going to work as best as we can to that end. So thank you to each of you for carrying these stories, for taking care of yourselves, and for delivering these messages to the people in our community that just want one more piece of information. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. All right. The county executive and I will take some questions. We obviously cannot answer questions about the investigation, But happy to take others, and we'll turn to Dylan.
Sure, Lucas from the State Journal.
Just for the county executive, as a former lawmaker, can you just talk generally about what the laws are in Wisconsin in terms of children's access to guns?
Our laws in Wisconsin are far too lax when it comes to access of guns by children. And I do believe that we should have safe storage laws. We should have background checks. We should have red flag bills. We should be providing adequate support for everyone in our community when it comes to behavioral health. People should not be waiting when they raise their hand and ask for help. And there should not be stigma surrounding people who are asking for that help. Our schools should be adequately funded. Our lot of action that can be taken in the Wisconsin State Capitol, but this is a conversation that needs to happen from coast to coast. We need partners in our federal government to also address this because states have borders and people can cross them.
Okay, Maddie from WISC.
As public officials, can you speak to the process of vetting information before sharing it publicly, what that looks like behind the scenes?
We can try. I think it depends.
Okay, you've been listening to a live news conference in Madison, Wisconsin. We heard from the police chief of Madison. The mayor is speaking right now, and then a county executive as well. And I think that someone from the schools, the school district is going to be speaking as well. We are preparing to take you, though, to Winona County for the sentencing of Adam Fravel, who was convicted of murdering his ex-partner, Madeline Kingsbury. And that is scheduled to start at 1:45. As soon as the judge enters the courtroom, we're going to be able to take that shot for you and listen in. We do know that that Adam Fravel will be sentenced to life in prison because he was convicted of premeditated first-degree murder, and that carries a mandatory sentence of life in prison. We also expect today to hear impact statements from Madeline Kingsbury's family. They did not want cameras in the courtroom during the course of the trial. We did hear from them, you may remember, after Adam Fravel's convictions, and they had a lot to say, a lot that they wanted to share, and we do anticipate that we'll be hearing more from them as well as they share those thoughts with Adam Fravel himself, who will be also in that courtroom. So we'll bring that to you. Amber will just let me know as soon as that shot is available. In the meantime, just to sort of wrap up some of the things that we just heard in this news conference in Madison, Wisconsin, because there were quite a few updates. The police chief, Sean Barnes, saying that this has now moved into the investigative phase. He did not take any questions in real time, but what they did was had the media submit questions ahead of time, and then he based his news conference on answering whatever he could. The first thing that he wanted to clarify was he himself had said that the call, the 911 call from the school, came from a second grader, and he wanted to clarify that that was his error, that it was not a second grader. On the phone, on the caller ID, it started to say second grade, but it was a second grade teacher who actually made that phone call. So that was one clarification that he wanted to make. And again, balancing, they have this tough job of balancing the transparency of what's going on, which they've held 4 news conferences yesterday. This is, I believe, their 5th. Also, they have this commitment to the victims to have this investigation be thorough and untainted. So that's the balance here. But clearly, people want answers. The rumor mills are spinning out of control, as they typically do on social media, particularly. One of the things that people are talking about is a document that is going around, and it's been called a manifesto. He referred to it as that, but he said that law enforcement has not been able to verify its authenticity. So there is a document that is floating around on social media. Many are calling it a manifesto, and he says, please stop sharing.